This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
Hello everyone, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at True Heel Heat. Yeah!
Rob Van Dam, listen to True Heel Heat. Pow!
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our NJPW Dominion 2025 review, discussing one of the most polarizing NJPW events in a very, very long time. So we're here to discuss it as only we can. And to do that, I am joined by my esteemed colleague, the MC of the past, present, and future of New Japan Pro Wrestling here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. It is your boy, J-News. News, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling like we have a lot to discuss as per what happened yesterday on the 15th of June. In the big year of 2025, New Japan Pro Wrestling seems to want to book shows a certain way, and we have to discuss as to what went down. Shout out to the fans in attendance in Osaka Joe Hall who were privy to these actions yesterday. A refund might be in order. I'm just saying. So yeah, they weren't about it for the majority of the show. And
they did not seem happy.
No, they did not seem happy. Usually when you watch the post show, and a lot of the time, a lot of us don't. But yesterday, I just wanted to see as to what it was like. The main event was great, and I usually have a sense of how good the event is with how long people stay after the main event is over. Right? Yeah. People chill out, or do they rush to leave? You know what I'm saying? Culturally, people in Japan just leave to get on the trains and all that stuff, whatever the case is. Everyone exited stage left. That was the most rampant leave of a freaking auditorium, stadium, arena I've seen in a very long time. And it just expressed to me the discontent, the unlikely scenarios that went down on yesterday's event, that people weren't fans of. Sometimes when you lean into something too much, it might not be the best thing to do. Just in general, right? Just in general. Too much of anything is a bad thing, folks. So take with that what you will. We have matches to break down. We have a considerable amount of new members of factions to talk about. And
we do.
And yeah.
I've never came out of like a New Japan show like this perplexed in what I witnessed. Like I was very confused because like you guys have to understand, like last year had its fair share of like not so good shows. Right. Mm-hmm. some bad shows. Mm-hmm. This one was just baffling because of the year that New Japan Pro Wrestling has had, where I had a post that got me some flack from the WWE fans and AEW fans because I had a post around maybe the beginning of April. I think it was coming off the heels of Dynasty, mm-hmm. where I was like, New Japan Pro Wrestling is the best company so far in wrestling of 2025 because it has made me feel, and they've moved me at different elements of their major events. Like I thought New Beginning in Osaka in particular is one of the best shows of the year. I think that Wrestle Dynasty is a top 7, top 8 show of the year. So you had 2 show of the year candidates with those 2 shows. And I thought all their other major events, for all I can say that was wrong with Wrestle Kingdom overall was good. I thought the Wrestling Dontaku pair of shows were good. I thought Sakura Genesis was really good. And I thought the New Japan Cup, overall, the stories that were told, that was good as well. So, and Best of Super Juniors, we had our issues with Best of Super Juniors, which we discussed on the last time we did a review on this channel. But the final, no question, one of the best matches of the year for New Japan Pro Wrestling and in general in all of wrestling. And I had high expectations going into this show. Like our anticipation level on average, I think you were at like a 9 or an 8. I was at an 8.5. I was like, we were on a high, and the chat was as well. Like to go from that to what we got on Sunday morning for me here in the UK, Saturday night going into Sunday morning for you guys in the US, whether it's Pacific or Eastern time, to get that show. I have not been this disappointed in New Japan Pro Wrestling in a very long time. I was disappointed in them not having a roster that was prepared for the departures of Ospreay and Okada last year. But like to be on that high and the great storytelling that we've got from New Japan this year, and then to get this show that we got on Sunday, I have not been this heartbreakingly disappointed in a very long time. Like Gato had Booker of the Year in his hands. Like he was sharing it with the other Bushi Road representatives, because Stardom's had excellent booking throughout 2025 themselves. So it was like a race between the Bushi Road representatives. And because, you know, Tony Khan's had a better year this year, but he still is riding the Death Riders when a lot of people have been done with the Death Riders for a while now. And Triple H, we've gone over it multiple times on this channel, is not having the same 2025 that he did in like 2024, 2023. So Booker of the Year was right at his fingertips. And I think that this single show, despite me not thinking that it's a horrible show and a bad show, like a lot of the discourse is saying online, there's no question, this was a very disappointing show. And it feels like the company is going in the opposite direction. I think if you're saying that it's a bad show or a horrible show, it's mainly because of the direction that it feels like this company is going in.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say that everyone has an off day. People are allowed to have bad days. Companies are allowed to have bad days. Wrestlers are allowed to have bad days. I mean, we saw a couple of things yesterday in wrestling matches that I was like, whoa, hey, okay. I wouldn't advise that. And some people are so self-aware that they put it in their own promos. Shout to Gabe Kidd. So there's that about it. Yeah, I'm not sure what yesterday was about, to be quite honest. And what I said this about it might have been another New Japan show, or no. As a matter of fact, it was about earlier in the year when I was on one of the AEW streams, and I talked about how Tony Khan tripled down on the Death Rider streak. Not doubled, he tripled down on the Death Rider streak.
I think that was the Dynasty review, yes. Wasn't it?
The Dynasty review. And this felt yesterday like, one, it took a sharp turn, then two, that turn went off a cliff, and then three, when they burned that sucker to the ground, they kept burning it. That's what it felt like. Just because, you know, the house and folks in Japan, people who are on that side of the world, have to at least let me know and make me aware of what the temperature is on the House of Torture, because we hate them, not because they're heels, but because they just overdo the spots that they do. It becomes too repetitive, and it's the same shit all the time, so it gets boring, right? And I akin it to what John Cena's been talking about for a couple of months now about ruining pro wrestling, right? I akin it to that. Why? Because you're ruining pro wrestling for me by repeating the same boring shit over and over and over again, right? But they said, nah, we gonna do this some more and some more and some more. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. The matches themselves were fine. I expected a lot more out of a few matches, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But I'm not sure what that decision making process was going into yesterday. If there was just too much Satori going around in the back when they were writing the show, I don't know, man. It just seemed off. It seemed off.
Yeah, as always, we appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Let's drop the thumbs up on this video. You can share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, you can sound off in the live chat. You could sound off in the comment section if you're watching us on demand. But if you're with us live, we'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you want to show your support to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel in the best way possible, you can do so with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. We got Jeremy Orr in the chat who says, "Hi all, I really don't like the House of Torture. Simple, to the point, and I think that this show would definitely is not for you if you feel that way." Zach says, "Good morning, everyone." Good morning to you, Zach. We got Colin Matthew who says, "This was a one-match show, in my opinion, and that was the main event." I think that there was two great matches on this show, but I can definitely understand that definitely the main event was the best, spoiler alert. So I can understand if you're saying it's a one-match show and you think it's that one. Leon, God.
Yeah, what I was going to say was that usually, as per what you and I usually do on our New Japan reviews and stuff like that, I don't necessarily play devil's advocate. I usually just go my cynical route and I just crash and burn on certain people's takes and things of that nature, just for the fun of it, right? Just because I like to do that sort of shit. In this instance, I'm just going to tell everybody ahead of time. I agree with you. I have got nothing bad. I have got nothing positive to say about what happened yesterday, and whatever amount of disdain, dislike, hatred, negativity you have towards this show, I cannot spin any positivity about it. If you want positivity about this show, follow wrestling_chat. She's got you covered. Because
even she had a divorce on this show.
She had a divorce yesterday. And that to me, I can't spin the positivity on this particular show, right? But yeah.
Leon Cooper says, "Do you think that Taka will join House of Torture next, since DOUKI joined House of Torture? And do you think that Fale Rogue Army disbanded and just followed Fale into House of Torture?" To answer the first part of the question, yes, at this point, I think anyone can join the House of Torture because they have 146 members. And do I think that the Fale Rogue Army disbanded? One, I don't really care. Two, sure, because everybody joins the House of Torture, apparently. That's what I learned from yesterday's show. There you go.
Yeah, and now he's the Don.
The Don, yes. The Don Fale. Call me Mr. Vonda says, "Lost some money but gained a good friend. What's good, THH?" He also says, if it wasn't for the House of Torture BS littered throughout this, could have been a pay-per-view of the year, in my opinion. I mean, I guess if I take away all the House of Torture stuff, it's just a good show. I think that's why it's disappointing. It's just a good show. It's not a great show, even without the House of Torture stuff, because like J-News said, there were certain matches, one in particular that I felt was it under delivered from the expectations that we had. So that I think if that match would have delivered, and mind you, I am going to put a lot of the credit on why this match didn't deliver on the crowd being killed dead by the match before it, but at the same time, I don't think the character work and the performances were as good as their previous bout. So yeah, I think I don't know if it's a pay-per-view of the year even without the House of Torture stuff.
Yeah.
Ninja Mortis is in the chat with us. Good to see you. Saying what's up, y'all. We got your boy Genesis J, who says Gato is a damn fraud. We got Colin, who says Gato and Togo, get them fired, Bucci Road. I agree. And we got our super chat donation from our good brother Vala. Thank you so much, Vala, for the support. He says, I've defended House of Torture for a while, but this was actively fucking up the company. Couldn't say it better myself. That's just a perfect synopsis.
Yeah.
Vala says every good moment on the show was fucked over by House of Torture shit, indeed. And even we got the House of Torture unit, the House of Torture supporters in the chat, just completely throwing them under the bus. We got Big Man Dogs who says, I'm a House of Torture shooter. And not even I was feeling these picks.
Y'all got it. Y'all got it.
Oh man, I mean, Dustin, he says I have to ask and apologies for being late at work. Did this show feel like a Dominion show or a lesser show? It felt like a 2024 New Beginning in Sapporo show. That was the last show that was like incredibly disappointing, and I had this flat feeling coming off a New Japan show. It's been quite a while.
It's been quite a while. It did to be direct to this. It definitely felt like a lesser show. It did not feel like a Dominion at all. I can always objectively sit and say, oh, hey, you know what? I see the vision. I see where they're going with this. They're pivoting to this. They're pivoting to that. And I don't see it at all. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
No. And I also agree with Communist Esteban. He says, wish we had Kosei Fujita versus El Desperado for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship on this card. Would have boosted morale. Yeah, but then again, based on this show, I would have thought that El Desperado would have joined House of Torture. That's what this show was booked like. That even if you add that matchup, yeah, it would have been good. But I think it would have been stopped from being great because Gato would have insisted on El Desperado joining House of Torture.
I'm not even going to put that out there into the universe, man. Look, at the end of the day,
I don't want to put it out to the universe, but I'm just going by what we saw yesterday. This is how I felt. Everyone is going to join the house. But yes. Let's go. Let's break it down, J-News. And as always, with our pay-per-view reviews, give me your one word, one phrase to give your overall thoughts on Sunday's show.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it simple. It was just disappointing at the end of the day. I've got nothing else. It was just disappointing.
Since you stole disappointing, I will go heartbreaking. Just broke my heart. I've been shooting in this New Japan gym. My tweet has aged horribly. My tweet from freaking April has aged horribly. We got Christopher who says torture. We got Ninja Mortis who says disappointing as well. We got Louisville who says heart garbage. We got Colin who says confused. We got Call Me Mr. Fonda. This is why, just why. And Dustin says this show made me remember why I'm not super high on New Japan so far this year with the baffling decisions. I think a lot of the decisions this year have been good. It's just they just made all the wrong decisions in this one show to me. But let's go to the pre-show first. Pre-show, we had a preliminary matchup consisting of the Young Lions, Katsuya. I say Morishima, but it's like Morishima or something. Walker Studio is saying differently from how it's spelled. But in Shomo Kaito, they went up against Daike Nagai and Masatoro Yasuda. Morishima, he sunk in a deep Boston Crab on Nagai to near success. Yoshida valiantly fought off an avalanche power slam, but fell to another one. Eventually, Morishima was able to lock on the Boston Crab on Yoshida, who's the youngest of these 4 young lions, and he was forced to tap out. The reign of Katsuya continues here as he picks up another victory in young lion competition. You had Katsuya and Nagai went face-to-face post-match, continuing their rivalry. I thought all 4 young lions, they looked good here. This was a fine little opener to the on the pre-show here for the live crowd in attendance. I gave it 2.5 stars. What did you think, J-News?
If I'm being honest, when I went to start up the show yesterday on New Japan World, it skipped the Young Lion match. It went straight to the first match of the show. And I tried to go back and watch the Young Lion match, and it just wouldn't play for some reason. So I wasn't able to see this. But we did predict that Big Morishima was going to get the win here and get the pin. So that happened. The other 3 boys, if you're letting me know that they had a stronger showing, hey, I'm all for it at the end of the day. There was an announcement this morning of 2 new young lions added to the young lion roster. So shouts to those guys. We have a
Zane J. Zane J is finally getting his matchup.
He's finally getting his matchup, and young Tatsuya, Tatsuya, joining the fray here without any hair. So we'll see how that goes. So we've got some new young lions to look forward to here on the Soul Tour as it begins this week. And shouts to the young lions.
And then the bullshit started with our opening matchup, J-News, as it was House of Torture. Ren Narita, Sanada, and Yujiro Takahashi with X, the newest member of the House of Torture, facing the Bullet Club War Dogs of Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney, Taiji Ishimori, and Chase Owens. Sanada comes out with a freaking Giant Gonzalez type ring gear as his entrance gear. And however, all the spotlight went to the newest member of the House of Torture, Bad Luck Fale, who is now known and rechristened into Don Fale. For the first time in the 12-year history of the Bullet Club, Fale is no longer a member. So none of the original members of the Bullet Club are in the faction going further. To start off the matchup, he gets into the ring and he starts yoking up Chase Owens, who looked quite surprised at the appearance of Fale joining House of Torture. He leveled him out. In addition to Maloney, you get Takahashi held some of the War Dogs at bay, but it was Ishimori who fought back. He nailed an enziguri to Takahashi. Fale handled Maloney on the outside, despite Owens' pleas and questioning of him. Connors trounced Fale with his wheel-son, proceeding to Jeep flip Takahashi as well. Maloney gets a tight spine buster on Sanada, who countered into a magic screw off the top rope. Maloney attempted to aid Owens to finish off Sanada with a guitar shot, but just as Sanada moves out the way, instead, it was Chase Owens who decides to also turn on the Bullet Club as he low blows Maloney right in the nods. He joins up with Sanada, handing him the guitar. The Sanada smashes the guitar over Maloney's head. 1, 2, 3. The House of Torture pick up the victory in this opening contest. A shocking development here as Chase Owens, another longtime member of the Bullet Club, turns on the War Dogs and aligns with House of Torture. So you get 2 for the price of 1. Not only Fale, but also Chase Owens joining the House of Torture here. This was more of an angle than a match, but as a match, it fucking sucked. This was not good. This was one of the worst openers of the year for New Japan for wrestling. The wrestling wasn't good. And I was like, when it was Fale, I was like, well, that was a flat surprise. And Chase Owens was just too over the top with his reaction to it, where I was like, yeah, he's probably going to turn sooner rather or later on the War Dogs, because he doesn't even really belong in the War Dogs anyway. And I think most people had it that Chase Owens was going to join the House of Torture anyway. And you just added two of the worst workers in New Japan Pro Wrestling to the worst faction in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So yeah, I gave this a half a star. J-News.
So I'm going to start off by saying that when we discussed this on the preview last week, we gave options as to who X could possibly be.
Yep.
At no point in time did we ever mention Bad Luck Fale. At no point in time did we ever mention Chase Owens, right?
No.
I did not have Sonata coming out in this entrance in a Giant Gonzalez-esque costume, basically with a G-string on top to cover up his nads, right? I didn't have that. And this is,
I did not have that on my bingo card either.
This is Sonata just playing off what he's been playing off lately, right? With the crazy gear. Shouts to Sonata for being entertaining in that way. You know what I'm saying? If I were to tell you it is 2025, right? Maybe 9 years ago, that the Bullet Club had too many members, right? I would have agreed with you. I would have agreed with you. I would have said, yo, BC's doing too much. You know what I'm saying? But they had a lot of talented guys on that roster. And for all intents and purposes, by majority, they were all gaijin wrestlers, right? They're all non-native Japanese wrestlers. This shit right here, I want to ask the populace, I want to ask the New Japan casuals, I want to ask the hardcores, did you care? Did you care that the men who joined the House of Torture by the end of this match, did you care that these particular talents, these wrestlers, joined the House of Torture? I can speak for myself and say I didn't give two squirts of urine, to use a phrase, that these gentlemen joined the House of Torture. But this wasn't the biggest swerve of the night. Now, was it?
No.
So, to talk about the match was not what I expected out of this whole thing, right? Because with the feel of the show, how they booked the show, and everything else in between, there are no OG members of the Bullet Club left in the Bullet Club as it stands, right? I don't know if this is a cause to pause and say, hey, maybe there's a renaissance coming. I don't know if that's something that people can look forward to, right? In the future. But this Don Fale, son. Don Fale. You know what? I'm gonna say this for folks out there in the wrestling world who watch more than New Japan and stuff like that. There's only one Don in the business right now that I acknowledge, and he's on NXT. And he does shitty work too.
There's only one Don that I acknowledge, and he used to be a commentator here. It's Callus.
And I'm talking about Tony D at the end of the day. So imagine that. You know what I'm saying? I only acknowledge one Don, and it ain't Fale. God damn, man. I don't know if I didn't necessarily feel bad for the War Dogs in this match per se, because that's usually the take of it, right? How this all went down. You're supposed to feel bad for the guys who get beat up and are outnumbered. I didn't feel bad, right? But this I don't even know what this was, man. I don't know what this was. How do you end up putting Yujiro Takahashi and freaking Chase Owens back in the same faction? How do you do that? Why would you?
They literally have the three worst workers in New Japan Pro Wrestling in the same faction. The three worst. The heavyweight part of the House of Torture, with Evil being the best worker of them, is outrageous. That's outrageous. Because I loved the Sonata gear and the Giant Gonzalez stuff, but I'm just basing it off this year. Who's had a better year in ring, Evil or Sonata? It's Evil.
It's Evil.
So Evil's the best worker of the heavyweight scene. You got a declining Sonata, and then the rest is utter trash. Fale can barely move.
Yes.
Chase Owens, he'll have a good match every 4 or 5 years. And Yujiro Takahashi can barely move. You have two people who could barely move in this heavyweight part of House of Torture. This faction might be one of the worst all time.
And someone made the comment here in the chat about how New Japan is broke and they couldn't afford new talents to come in and join the House of Torture. Forget about them being broke and not being able to afford. What about shock value, right? They gave us shock value later on in the show, but it wasn't story-driven shock value, right?
No, it was like, what the fuck are we doing? Shock value.
So for all intents and purposes, it's like, wow, we can't even get on the same page about what kind of shock value we want as a part of this thing. So it's like, okay, cool. We have a lot of members of the House of Torture at this point.
We have way too many members of the House of Torture. That should have been done after the Dog Pound Steel Cage matchup. We should have been moving on to something else, something new. But we are still living in this House of Torture world.
I will say that it's with the way the show ended, right, and everything that happened with the House of Torture during the show, I feel like, I know you mentioned we were talking off camera for a bit or whatever, and you felt like they're pivoting towards a certain way, and I'll let you have that discourse. But I feel like, man, dare I say, the War Dogs are no more? Dare I say?
I wouldn't go that far, but I don't know if the War Dogs are gonna still be Bullet Club now. I could see, because of the trend that they have gone on this year and the direction that they've gone on with the disbandment of LIJ, of Chaos, of Just Four Guys. I can see the War Dogs just being the War Dogs instead of the Bullet Club War Dogs. They might say there's Bullet Club no more.
I was about to say something, but we'll get there when we get there, when we talk about the match. Yeah, man. This match that started off the show did not land.
This set the tone bad for the rest of the night. It did. Like, going back and talking about it, it was like this set the tone for the entire rest of the night, which is not a good thing. We got Sage in the chat. Good to see you, Chacopo. Sage, who says, well, Jake Lee has yet to join House of Torture. That was our prediction in our preview. He says, so we have that to look forward to. Yes. Only thing this faction needs after getting 10 members on this show is 11. I just have to smile so I don't cry.
You know, I hope Jake Lee's doing well, man. I hope he's on the mend, and that the tidbits and news have gone around through the journalistic entities in Japan that his injury was actually worse than what they originally had expected. So, which is why we haven't seen Jake Lee back as of yet. Hopefully he's on the mend, and hopefully he gets to do something different when he gets back to New Japan. That isn't necessarily based on this faction warfare, if you want to call it that.
Please, dear God, no. To call me Mr. Banda says Ace Austin got to pull up to Japan with the eyeglass emoji, prayer hands emoji, and heart emoji. Maybe he would fit in with the War Dogs, I guess.
He would.
You know, he was brought in by Jay White.
Yeah, he is BizCliz till he dies, but you know, I'm not, you know, to the comment that was said earlier in the chat. I don't think New Japan's got the cash flow for that. If I'm being real. So yeah.
We also got Dustin. It says, be prepared for Evil to challenge Goto later on this year. I just know that's coming. I had half the mind that I thought that Evil and House of Torture were going to jump Goto at the end of the show. That's how this show made me feel. Where I was like, Goto was celebrating at the end of the show. I was like, oh, Evil's going to come out. Well, I'm just here. I'm just waiting for the crowd to react that he's coming out and he's going to attack him. But then we'll go over the G1 lineup, and it's obvious Evil's going to beat Goto to set up a title match in the G1. It's so obvious at this point.
Nah, man, I wasn't going to be the one to put that out into the universe, bro.
No, we're not putting out the universe. We are literally reading the tea leaves. We are reading the tea leaves at this point.
Somebody take a torch to the tea leaves, man, because this ain't it. This ain't it, man. We swore up and down after the BS that was Evil's title reign, right? We said we don't want him anywhere near the main event scene, right?
Yeah,
because he was doing his own thing. He's the House of Torture guy. He was going after the War Dogs. It was all good and plenty for Evil. He had his own little lane. Now he wants to enter. He wants to go in through the front door and try to upend the Goto revolution. I will have no parts of that, sir. I will have no parts of that. No parts.
But sir, people tend to forget. People always want to just. I'm going to defend your boy. I'm going to defend your boy here, or your former boy. I don't know how you feel about him now since he's in this group, but I really felt like the Sonata title reign was going along well until he had like a 3-month storyline with Evil. I think that's what really dragged Sonata's reign to being one of the worst and him getting most overrated for 2023 and everything that happened to him. I think that the Evil feud was the thing that really dragged down his title reign to the doldrums.
It was because they didn't deliver on the emotional pull that particular feud should have had, right? That's why it dragged. I don't want, like I said, I don't want Evil anywhere near the title picture. He doesn't deserve it, regardless of the fact that you stated, and I agree with you, that he is the best heavyweight out of the House of Torture. It still does not mean he deserves to be in the title picture, right? So there's that.
Second match on the show, we got some goodness before we would get dragged down to the house. We had TMDK, Roye Uyawa, and Zack Sabre Jr. going up against El Phantasmo and Shota Umino of Hantai. Umino and Oyawa locked up into a stalemate early on. Then we got some nice exchanges between ZSJ and ELP, where they're exchanging nice little technical filling out process, some dynamic, well-rounded style between the two. Oyawa joined his teammate in targeting the limbs of Phantasmo, breaking him down for a bit here. Before we would break things down, we would get Oyawa versus ELP. You got Zack versus Shota Umino in the ring. A desperate Oyawa reached for a Dr. Bomb, which failed to secure the pin on ELP. TMDK wore down their opponents with sleeper holds, yet ultimately staggered into synchronized Insiguri from the Hontai crew. Umino and Zack Sabre Jr. were left into the ring. We got multiple pinning variations until Zack was able to take him down with the European clutch. 1, 2, 3. Zack Sabre Jr. once again gets a victory over Shota Umino. TMDK picking up the win in tag team action. I did like the finishing sequence. Did like all the exchanges between Sabre Jr. and Phantasmo here. This felt like a good little like preview of the G1, because we expected that all 4 of these guys would be in G1 competition. One of such, spoiler alert, will have to qualify to get in, but I do expect all 4 to be in the G1, so this was a nice little preview for that. And I thought overall it was a good tag team matchup. I gave it 3.5 stars. J-News, what did you think?
This worked as a tag team match. Always shouts to ELP. Shouts to the Young Punks, who are members of TMDK, Ryohei Oiwa and Zack Sabre Jr. If I may, I'm going to go a little bit off the course here, because it stands to where New Japan is right now from a storytelling perspective, and from a perspective of giving new life to certain characters and things of that nature. I think it would have worked best if we're going to be adding new members of the House of Torture, if you were to give that spot to a Shooter Umino.
Yeah.
Because he right now, as a quote unquote babyface, is in no man's land.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a direction, and we can then go from there. I said last event that we covered for New Japan, they're keeping him vague. They're keeping him ambiguous as to where he's still siding on the Hontai side and on the babyface side, but he just doesn't have a real direction. Pick a lane and go with it. He might be Hontai because of the colors he wears, because of the people he associates with, but who's he really close to? Does he even have a mentor at this point? And yeah, it
really feels like a missed opportunity not doing it on this show, because of everything that we saw in the New Japan Cup final with the whole post-match exchange between him and David Finlay. If he comes out and Finley's left alone after they beat up the Bullet Club War Dog, and he comes out and it looks like he's gonna help Finley, and then turns on Finley to join the House of Torture, that like Big Man Dog said here, that would have got a big reaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would have gave that what we're gonna talk about later with the dog collar matchup just an inkling more of like intrigue and noteworthiness that it doesn't have.
But I
totally agree with you.
But I feel like, to play devil's advocate here, if they would have done that with Shooter, and mind you, I'm advocating for them to have pulled the trigger and put Shooter in House of Torture. There's something that tells me that they don't want someone to outshine Evil as the leader of the House of Torture. I believe if they would have pulled the trigger on Shooter, he would have automatically ascended to the top of their ranks. Obviously, he's the better wrestler, right? So it's like they would finally have a star wrestler on the HOT side, and he would have automatically usurped Evil as the main man on that side. And I feel like there is an agenda that they don't want anyone to usurp Evil as the main man on HOT side right now. So they're just adding people to HOT who are below Evil's tier, and they're just giving them numbers at the end of the day.
And that's the thing. Like, if you look at throughout Japan, they all have like these heel factions that are quite similar. Like, you have Heat in Stardom, but Heat also has Momo Watanabe. They got Saya Kamitani, who's this big star who's getting big kind of like babyface reactions, especially after the Tam Nakano matchup, and she feels like a legit star for the future. Then you look at like a place like Pro Wrestling Noah, and they have Team 2000X, and they have some guys that are good in there, like Jack Morris and stuff like that, but it's mostly built around Ozawa, and Ozawa is a star for the future. The best thing, the closest thing they have for a star to the future for House of Torture is freaking Ren Narita. I King of the North, I think that's what we're trying to figure out. I think this whole review is us trying to figure out what the fuck is this show.
Shouts to King of the North, man. Your stuff been coming up on my feed on Twitter, bro. I haven't seen you in the chat in a while, bro. Shouts to King of the North real quick. Dude, like, I don't know, man. I just don't know at this point what this was. But we were talking about the tag match. Shooter was in it. It was a decent performance by Shooter and ELP. Still don't know what the direction of Shooter is going to be going into the future. Obviously, he's going to be in the G1. What does he do? Where does he go? I don't know. Hopefully, ELP has a strong showing. We know the TMDK boys are going to entertain. But yeah, the previous match just kind of took me out of this match. Even though I knew it was a serviceable tag match. But yeah, there's that.
Yeah, I do agree with this, Colin. Yes, Momo needs to turn, baby. If you're gonna keep Saya Kamitani as the top heel, you need Momo to be the babyface then. Unless they're gonna turn Saya babyface, which you just be going along with the
because the way her popularity has skyrocketed, man, and the whole Saya Sama stuff, and it's coming along gratefully, man. It's coming along great. So
yeah, I agree with King of the North. He says they've got the G1 Nightmare Blunt rotation: Bad Luck Fale, Yujiro Takahashi, and Chase Owens. The three worst workers in the company are in the maybe the three worst workers in Japan. I don't know. It might be at this point. Like, Jesus Christ, what are we doing? Yeah, and I totally understand what you just said about, like, I can understand it. I thought the tag team matchup, TMDK and Hontai, was a good matchup, but I can totally understand if the match before that just totally killed you inside and you couldn't even enjoy this. It's like anything that you could have enjoyed on this matchup, they would have on this show. They immediately tried to ruin it. Oh man! But next up, we had a singles matchup, a part of Hiroshi Tanahashi's final road. This one is the Connection, which was Hiroshi Tanahashi versus his spiritual successor, Yuya Uemura. The match saw Tanahashi using his technique, being more seasoned to test Uemura, but Uemura tried to pick up the speed with some arm drags and stuff like that. Uemura worked over the arm of the ace, yet incurred the shock of a flying crossbody and a back body drop with a middle rope senton by the ace. Uemura countered a sling blade into an attempted deadbolt suplex. He dropped, but he was dropped by Tanahashi, getting the dragon screw leg whip and working over the leg. A successful sling blade followed as Tanahashi had full control at that point. Tanahashi baited Uemura into rage, with Uemura temporarily tiring himself out in a stiff exchange of forearms. This drove him into getting a dragon suplex from Tanahashi after he got a series of elbow strikes. The Ace ultimately succumbed to Uemura, kind of overwhelming him. It looked like Uemura was going to get the victory with an armbar until the Ace used his veteran experience. He rolls up Uemura, and to the surprise of me and the surprise of many, he gets the 1-2-3 for this one. I thought the match was going along and getting better as it was going along, and then it just ended with the little roll up here out of the armbar. So nice little matchup, but it could have been better. I gave this match 3 stars. Tanahashi picking up the victory here. I didn't understand it at first. I thought that this was going to be a great passing of the torch moment for Uemura to get a big win over the Ace, but as the night went on, you see the G1 lineup, and then you would see a challenge later in the show. It made sense in retrospect why Tanahashi got the win here. But what did you think about this one, J-News?
I'm with Mr. Bonda here. The ending of the match fell flat. I was like, oh, quick roll up, Tana with the win. Okay. We've been seeing Tana, losing his matches, on his way out, but giving good performances and stuff like that. And I expected this to be more of the same, but with the result being a bit different, like you said, going into the rest of the night, understanding how the G1 broke down, it's like, okay, I can see as to where they might be wanting to go with this particular story, especially with Uemura. I just hope that this particular show doesn't put a death nail in the younger generation for New Japan right now, because the way they booked the show wasn't, outside of Gabe, wasn't necessarily strong for the new generation of New Japan guys. There was definitely, and I'll say this, and we'll get into it when we get to the match, but there was definitely some negative discourse about Big Suge after this show. I will stand 10 toes down. I will not stand for Big Suge slander, not at all.
Me either.
But
I'll spoiler alert, I thought he was the better half of his matchup.
Son. I just, for me, it just we'll get to it when we get to the match, but it feels like they have a sense of where they're gonna go with Uemura, especially it being tied to Tana. So I guess they have that to the side per se, but like Mr. Bonner said, the ending fell flat for me. It was a decent enough match. They're holding off on the passing of the torch for now, which makes sense because Tana's got to the end of the year anyway. So there's that part about it. But yeah, even after the ending of this match, I was like, where are we going in the show? Where are we going?
Yeah. I was like, I thought this would be a little better. And like I said, I thought it was going in that direction to be a better matchup. But yeah, I agree with Best of Bonda and you. The finish was a little flat. It just came out of nowhere. And yeah, that might be the discourse that you are seeing. King of North says it's those beans and toast guys, man. Yeah, they're the ones that are like, oh, Suji ain't nothing. It's Gabe Kidd. Like, yeah, okay. But fourth match on the card, and I feel like no matter what happened after this, I don't know if the show could ever recover, because even though the match that immediately followed this I thought was one of the better matches on the show, I don't think the show ever recovered from this matchup. For the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, the House of Torture, which was supposed to be Sho and Yoshinobu Kanemaru, went up and challenged Master Wato and Yo for the titles. Prior to the bell, Sho blamed Wato for the injury suffered by advertised opponent Yoshinobu Kanemaru before revealing that his new partner was none other than the returning DOUKI? You're telling me excellent junior heavyweight champion that just lost the title off a freak injury at Wrestle Kingdom, you turn around and you make him join the shit show that is the House of Torture. My mind was boggled. I had to rewatch this whole matchup this morning, J-News, because I don't think I ever recovered from seeing DOUKI come out with black eyeliner and being the dark DOUKI that he was in Suzuki-gun. It's like he regressed to his Suzuki-gun version when we used to call him DOUKI. He joins the House of Torture. The pair immediately dispatched Yo Show set DOUKI up for a basement dropkick to Wato as they held up the champion's legs. You get Kanemaru as the referee is distracted by DOUKI. He comes in and he delivers a low blow, showing that his injury was just a ruse as he chops Wato right in the balls. Wato is able to crawl for a rope break after they put him in a single leg crab by DOUKI. He and Sho continue to wear down the loathsome Wato before they drop to his double clothesline. Yo comes in for the hot tag and he unloads on the heels with aerial maneuvers. Wato delivered a plancha to DOUKI, dazing him enough to slingshot him into the barricade. Kanemaru swung with his whiskey bottle and Sho with a screwdriver, but missed the champions and they hit each other. DOUKI leveled the playing field, swinging a pipe, though. He brings out the old pipe that he used to use when he was in Suzuki-gun. You get him swinging the pipe. He uses it on Wato. Wato gets blasted with the whiskey to the face from Kanemaru. DOUKI then secures the arm and knee of Wato as they basically blast him right in the leg with the pipe, and then he secures the arm and the leg and the knee into basically a leg lock submission, and Sho makes Yo, who's already knocked out by the screwdriver, to watch as Wato submits. And yes, the House of Torture are your new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Literally, this almost a year ago, Wato returned after injury and made the save for DOUKI after he defeated Sho of House of Torture, and he saved them from a post-match beatdown from House of Torture. And now, only almost a year later, almost like 8 months later, DOUKI returns and joins up with House of Torture against Wato. That is how this is the direction this company is going in. Oh my God. Why would they do this to DOUKI? DOUKI was a guy we were talking about last year. He had basically come into the upper echelon of the junior heavyweight division. He had an excellent title reign last year. Actually built up credibility for himself, was having a great run before he ran into Desperado, and he did that senton off the top rope to the floor and injures his arm, and you regress him. I understand, he didn't agree with the rest of Just Four Guys joining up with the main group with Hontai. That's fine if you want to go in that direction. Don't have him join the worst faction in this goddamn company, the worst faction in this business. This whole decision was just like, why? Out of all the people that join House of Torture, he is, of course, the best member. He's probably right there with Evil as the best member of the team now. But Jesus Christ, why would you do this to DOUKI? You just regressed him back to DOUKI. I was so heartbroken. Like I said, I don't think this show ever recovered from this decision. What did you think, J-News? The match, I'll give it a star.
So I would like to say that for one, the ending and title change of this match was probably one of the most anticlimactic things I've ever experienced on a wrestling show. Usually title changes mean something. They either garner heat or whatever have you. This just yet again something that fell flat. It just happened, right? Because no one can get over the fact that DOUKI just joined the House of Torture. Do you know how much redemption work DOUKI had to do the last 2 years just to get to the point where, yes, he was thrust into service via emergency to be the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. But guess what? He did a tremendous job. Like you said, it lent him credibility at the end of the day. You had another good baby face in the junior division now to have, especially someone who can compete with the likes of a Desperado and things of that nature, right? You kill off his momentum by having him join the House of Torture. But not only did you kill off his momentum, Yo just had the best match of his career. And you have him go out into that? Into that? Talk about doing a disservice to more than one wrestler in one match. I couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe it. Show was show, and Wato's still out here being punked by the freaking heels of the program, right? So you have two guys who are still doing the status quo thing, and then you have two other guys who should be on upward trajectories now in this pool of mediocrity. You didn't take advantage of the momentum that Yo had, and you felt like it was a good idea to put a guy who changed his body, reworked his image and things of that nature, and made himself a credible and viable threat in the junior division to just be another member of an overcrowded faction. I don't understand.
This is booking malpractice. This is booking malpractice at its finest.
And it's interesting. Birdman Dogs brings this up with his latest comment. Talking about Jack Perry. They should have had the megastar Jack Perry return with HOT, the modern day Stone Cold episode. You know what's interesting? New Japan Pro Wrestling yesterday via commentary shouts to Walker Stewart, and shouts to Chris Charlton. Yes. They said the name Jack Perry more times in yesterday's event at Dominion than AEW has in the last 5 months.
There's a reason for that.
I understand that, but at the end of the day, they mentioned Jack Perry more times in a company he's not signed to than the company he is signed to. I think Jack Perry would have gotten a bigger pop than Bad Luck Fale for returning.
I mean, to be fair to DOUKI, he got a big reaction for him coming out as Listen. It was a reaction of gasping and shock, but it was still a big reaction.
I was aghast when I saw DOUKI come out there with HOT. But Jack Perry would have been another one because the people in Japan love Jack Perry. At the end of the day, they love them some what the hell? They love the scapegoat. They love them some scapegoat. I don't know. And now I feel like we're going to get these championships that are currently being held by members of the House of Torture. They're going to go into relative obscurity because no one's going to remember that they have them because they do the same shit all the time. And the defenses are never necessarily put on a pedestal that makes them feel important.
Nope. I'll give somebody a dime in the chat if they can remember one show title defense when he was IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion that stood out for good reasons. Because show is 1/3 of the never openweight 6-man tag team champion, which we haven't seen those titles, even though they were defended just like a month ago. We haven't seen them in months.
These championships don't matter. They don't matter. And now you're going to give them to the faction that matters the least, that people pay attention to. You're forcing people to pay attention to the House of Torture because you gave them all these members and you made them the prominent part of the show. But people don't want to pay attention to the House of Torture. They just don't. You don't make these characters interesting just by adding more members to the crew, right? It's like outside of Sonata and Evil, right, who stand out as characters, right? It's like Fale's just big. No one cares about Chase Owens. Sorry, Chase, but no one cares about Chase Owens. Like you said, Yujiro Takahashi can barely freaking move. What the hell has Show done for me in the last 3 years? For God fucking sakes. You know, and there's other members of the House of Torture I'm not even mentioning right now. Look. The new generation was supposed to start with Baby Shibata, and no one is mentioning him.
No. I tend to forget he's in the group sometimes.
He comes out, bro. Like, this is my point of view. This is my perspective. He comes out during the entrance, and I forget that it's Ren Narita. I'm always saying, yo, who is this guy? Who is that guy? And then he takes the hoodie off. Eventually, by the time he gets to the ringside, I was like, oh shit, it's Ren Narita.
Because he's wrestling in a t-shirt. He's wrestling in a t-shirt.
He's not. You can't wrestle in a t-shirt if you're not Kenny Omega or Tetsuya Naito. You can't do that.
We got a super chat donation from Genesis J talking about this DOUKI in House of Torture. He says, most stupid ass decision killed the vibe. Yeah, the whole vibe of the show was done after this. It was done. It didn't. I mean, they got up and they got excited for the next matchup we're gonna discuss. But like, I don't think you can ever go and like get highs off of this show after this decision. And also Genesis J with another super chat donation. Thank you so much, Genesis J, for the support. He says, why Gabe more of a Death Rider than Shooter, which is hilarious.
Well, I mean, but at the end of the day, even though Shooter's mentor, senpai, whatever you want to call him, was John Moxley, Shooter hasn't been involved in that Death Rider storyline at all. So at this point, obviously Gabe is more of a Death Rider. He used the freaking maneuver, the dirty deeds, whatever you want to call it, into the battle driver to win his match. It's just, man, I don't even know what to say anymore, man. I just don't. I don't know where Yo and Wato go from here. As a matter of fact, they're gonna have matches in the Soul, in the Soul tour, and then they're gonna take about a month off. That's what's gonna happen. And people are going to forget about
the G1.
The people are going to forget about them, and they're going to be right back where they were before Yo had his biggest match of his career, and Wato was yet again trying to climb up the stairs and get his way back to the Grandmaster. What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
Here we are. And I agree with Big Man Dogs. He says wrestling in a t-shirt in your 20s is madness. Big Man Dogs also says, I'll give a pass to the unks who could still go.
Right. That's why I didn't mention Nobu, because Nobu always wrestles in a t-shirt, but Uncle Nobu's 48 years old. You know what I'm saying? So
That's fair.
What are we talking about?
King of the North said Gay's more of a dick rider than a Death Rider. God damn, y'all are going in the chat. Oh, all right. Like I said, the next matchup was actually one of the better matches on the show, as you had Tai Chi and Tomohiro Ishii challenging the IWGP Tag Team Champions, United Empires, Callum Newman and Great O'Khan. Newman exploded onto offense with him going right after Tai Chi, overwhelming him with the quickness. Khan then came in and he furthered the punishment, doing his big sit to pour some salt on the wound. You get Ishii, he barrels in with a tag, blasting through both Khan and Newman, emphatically dropping the former with a vertical suplex. Calum Newman using his speed and athleticism with a big dive to the outside on Taichi. Taichi endured the flurry of offense from Newman and then grabbed him with a lariat and then excitingly threw off his long pants to reveal his shorter trunks. He got building up to an attack. Taichi fell instead to Khan, who came in. He booted Ishii in the face, but when he tried to make the save, this led to Newman with a shotgun knee to plummet Taichi to the outside. Khan sacrificed himself to take Ishii out of it, leading to Newman getting a Spanish fly on Taichi. But Khan's efforts were thwarted as Ishii made the save for Taichi when he looked close to defeat. With that, it was the offense of the Kings Road duo who really just overwhelmed the United Empire tandem. You get the assisted brainbuster, the Black Mephisto into brainbuster by Ishii onto Newman. It looks like at that point things were all in their favor as Ishii then took out Okan. He held them off as Taichi picked up Newman, drops him with the Black Mephisto. 1, 2, 3. Taichi and Tomohiro Ishii pick up the victory. This win got Ishii so hyped. This man tackled Taichi with a big hug. That put a big smile on my face, and they had the crowd rocking in the final 5 minutes of this matchup. They were really into and rallying behind Taichi and Ishii to pick up the victory here. This really felt like the first genuine, very good matchup of the show, where the crowd was into it. You get Khan and Newman. They put up a valiant effort despite taking the loss here, but it was so heartwarming to see Taichi feel so overwhelmed with emotion, getting the win here. IWGP Tag Team Champion, and Tomohiro Ishii, the oldest IWGP Tag Team Champion in history at 49 years old and 5 months. And not only that, the oldest double champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling, as he is also the NJPW Strong Openweight Champion. I don't know if it was a combination of how awful the House of Torture stuff was just before this, or the high of the fans getting really into this in the closing stretch, but I love this matchup. I really enjoyed this, and I even enjoyed it when I watched it back because I needed to get the bad taste out of my mouth after watching the match before it, so I rewatched it again this morning. I give this one 4 stars. I love this match. What did you think, J-News?
No, I was already taken out of the show by this time. It's unfortunate. I think that having the Kings Road guys, the All Japan guys, be the babyface winners of the night it was interesting. This would have never happened 15 years ago, let alone now. But I'll keep it there. I mean, I love Taichi. I love Ishii. Those guys always. I think their history in the business has been fortified for quite some time now, and for them to be champions together is a cool thing to see, right? Just from a historical aspect and things of that nature. There's no other way for me to say this. I'm good on Okan. And what I mean by that is that I no longer need him on my TV screen. I don't need him in a New Japan ring right now. I got nothing for him. There was a time for folks who have not been watching True Heel Heat since me and SP3 started reviewing New Japan stuff several years ago at this point. I was never a fan of the Great Okan. Hated him. And then I turned over a new leaf and I started showing Okan some love. And now I feel like we're right back where we started with Okan. And I got no love for him, man. I just don't. He does nothing for me right now. And shouts to Callum Newman. I'm a fan, always will be a fan, ride or die with Callum. I feel like Callum's got a bright future. He's in the G1. Let's do it. Do big things, man.
Not yet. Not
yet.
yet.
Right. He'll be part of the eight men who are participating and to get into the. I feel because they haven't announced them yet, but I feel like he'll probably be one of the.
I have the matches here. We'll go over it up next.
This is yeah, nah, man. We said this during the preview. I would have figured they would have gotten one. No, we talked about the junior tag team, but this defense, I was like, okay, cool. I guess this is it's a feel good moment. So it worked for that particular sensibility of it all. But yeah, man, I wasn't invested when I got here, man. I was taken out of it. But
yeah, I mean, I said that the vibes was off after DOUKI joined House of Torture. I totally understand that. But up next, we get an announcement. The G1 Climax 35 lineup, and I saw this as well on social media. People were not pleased by this lineup either. But let's go over it as we get the big graphics and the video announcing the participants and the blocks for the G1 Climax 35 tournament. For the A block, you got the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Hirooki Goto. You got Boltin Oleg, Yuya Uemura, Yota Tsuji, at that point the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion, David Finlay of the Bullet Club War Dogs, Evil of the House of Torture, Sonata of the House of Torture, and in his final G1 Climax tournament before he retires on January 4th, 2026, Hiroshi Tanahashi will be in the G1 Climax in the A block. Plus, you got the two winners of the play-in tournament qualifying matches. Also going to fill out the block for A block. Over in B block, you got the NJPW World Television Champion El Phantasmo, Shota Umino. You got Shingo Takagi, former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and the winner of the G1 Climax 34 tournament, Zack Sabre Jr., the Great Okan of United Empire, Gabe Kidd of the Bullet Club War Dogs, Ren Narita of the House of Torture, and at that point, the never open weight champion of AEW and the Don Callis family, Konosuke Takeshita. And then two winners of our qualifying matches. Before we get to the qualifying matches, what are your thoughts on the G1 lineup that was announced at Dominion, J-News?
I'm to be honest, I wasn't necessarily swayed one way or another. I thought it was solid for everybody who's currently contracted to New Japan. So these being the picks did not they didn't necessarily upset me or anything like that. So yeah, I'm cool with it. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I don't have, and it's not to say that it's great at the end of the day, but like, we still have 4 slots to fill out, and we'll see how the tournament works out over the month that it's going to be running. But I wasn't, I wasn't mad at it and stuff like that. I thought it was solid.
Yeah, I wasn't enthused to be 100% fair, and like especially in particular the B block. It just felt like, hey, we're just counting on Shingo Takagi, Zack Sabre Jr., and Konosuke Takeshita to do the heavy lifting. I like Gabe Kidd in that block. I think Gabe's going to have great matches with everyone I just mentioned. El Phantasmo, another one who's going to have great matches with everyone I mentioned. But it's really up to Takeshita, Gabe, and Zach to do the heavy lifting. And Shingo as well. Shingo Takagi. So Shingo, Zach, and Takeshita are going to do the heavy lifting in that block. As far as the A block, I think Hirooki Goto versus everyone is going to be a good to great matchup. Probably not so much Evil or Sonata. Evil and Sonata, I mean, Evil, he can be good if he doesn't rely on the House of Torture stuff, but I know he's going to rely on the House of Torture stuff, so I'm kind of disappointed by that. And Hiroshi Tanahashi, I'm just going to do a prayer circle for him and to see if his knees can survive 9 matches. I don't know. I mean, it's understandable to put Tanahashi in this because this will be his final G1, and he was one of the guys that got a big reaction out of all the participants announced. I think that Tanahashi and Takeshita were the ones that got the biggest reaction from the crowd, so I give him that. But it's Tanahashi with 1.5 knee, gonna be in the G1. I'm just gonna go for a prayer circle. I'm just gonna be prayer circle it up. We got I Make Beats was excited for Take Soup being in the G1. Yeah, Choco Post Sage. Yeah, like you and King of the North, like King of the North says, save me a seat for that Evil versus Sonata Night 9 main event. Like, why would you put Evil and Sonata in the same block? This is cruel and unusual punishment.
Because someone said it earlier and I didn't want to repeat it, but now that King of the North put it into the chat about their specific match, this is the NWO 2000 all over again. There will be a finger poke of doom moment that goes down during this match. Book it. Guaranteed for this match.
It's cruel and unusual punishment. Cruel and unusual. Komiya Sabanda says, I'm still going Umino for the upset, the major upset G1 win. It's probably going to be Big Suge, though. Yeah, my early prediction is Tsuji versus either Gabe or Takeshita. That's where I think it's going to go. But there is 4 spots remaining in the G1 Climax tournament. And this morning, J-News, they announced the play-in qualifying matches. Have you seen them, or this will be your first time seeing
This will be my first time seeing it.
All right, so I'll go in reverse order because I think that's funnier. So on July, I think it's July 5th, there will be the last two qualifying matches. Get a load of this, J-News. Yoshihashi going 1-on-1 with Chase Owens.
Okay.
And the other one on July 5th, you thought that was good. Check out this one. Roye Uyoa going 1-on-1 with the Don Fale.
Okay.
And then the better of the two will take place on June 23rd, as it will be Tomohiro Ishii versus Drilla Maloney.
Okay.
And this is just cruel. When you look at the first 2 matches I showed you, this is just cruel that they did this to us. Callum Newman going 1-on-1 with Tai Chi. I knew you were going to give me that reaction. That's why I wanted to save that one for last.
Wow, man. To know who's Chase Owens facing off with again? I'm sorry.
Yoshihashi.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I honestly can't make a decision. I feel like I feel like Callum and Tai Chi should have had matches against other people because I would have rather seen both of them in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're going to have Chase Owens win his match against Yoshihashi.
Oh, please don't.
Yeah.
Don't do this to me, please.
Yeah. They're not going to give the fan base an emotional match where Yoshihashi eventually faces off with Goto. That's not going to happen.
That would be splendid.
It would be great. It would be fantastic. But is that the way that they've been booking it since yesterday?
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So Chase Owens is going to be in this G1. None of us are going to like it.
This is the best comment so far. said, Craig Carter II says, if Chase Owens or Fale are in the G1, I'm squaring up with Gato.
So
put your hands up.
So I feel like it's gonna be Chase over the Don, because Roy's got to be in the. He's got to be. He's. Nah, I ain't messing with. Nah, I'm not doing that, man. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Fale's out. Chase is in, which means Yoshihashi is out, right? And it's Oiwa versus the Don, right? Am I bugging?
Yeah, Oyoa versus Don.
Oiwa's in.
Don Fale.
Fale's
Yeah,
out.
I think Oyoa easy. That's gonna be a win. I think you are right that we have to say there is some chance that Gato is a maniac and he hates us, so he might do Chase beating Yoshi. But I'm hoping that Yoshihashi gets to win, because I agree with King of the North. I need Yoshihashi versus Goto in the G1. I would even love if he's in the B block. I'll take Yoshihashi versus Konosuke Takeshita. And just to specify, because they did put it out there. Also, Yoshihashi would not be. He's not qualifying for A block, so he wouldn't go against Goto. It would Yoshihashi versus Chase Owens is for a spot in B block, which I wouldn't mind. Yoshihashi versus Konosuke Takeshita, or Yoshihashi versus Shingo Takagi, Yoshihashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. I think all of those matches would be great. Oiwa versus Fale is for a spot in A block, so I'd be down for Oiwa versus Goto, and Oiwa versus Finley, Oiwa versus Uemura, Oiwa versus Tsuji. Those are all great matches in my opinion. B block is Drilla Maloney versus Ishii. So we can have Drilla in there with Gabe, which would be very interesting. Or War Dog versus War Dog, or Drilla versus Takeshita. Ishii. That's one that can go either way, because I could see Ishii getting one more G1 as well. And give me a rematch with Ishii and Takeshita, or Ishii and Gabe, or Ishii and ZSJ, or Ishii and Shingo, which always delivers in the G1. And then Callum Newman and Tai Chi is for a spot in A block. So I'd be down for Tai Chi versus Goto, and Tai Chi versus Tanahashi one more time. Tai Chi versus Tsuji, or Tai Chi versus Uemura, a battle of just 4 guys, or even Callum and Goto again. I wouldn't mind that one. And Tsuji and Callum. Callum doesn't interest me as one. I kind of want Tai Chi. If I have to choose between them, I want Tai Chi to win.
I would have figured that what we were talking about on the preview would have happened, which is where, being that if Tai Chi were to win one half of the tag belts, that he would have automatically made it into the G1, but that's not necessarily the case. And now with Callum losing the tag team belts and Naito gone, they don't have the cemented avenue to have Callum in the tournament this year if they don't have to, right? But with Tai Chi's winning of the tag belts, it makes more sense for Tai Chi to be a part of the G1 this year, and Callum's got years ahead of him, so he can be part of future G1s and stuff like that. So we'll see as to how all that breaks down. But man, oh man, someone's got to eat the pins, bro. So I'm going Chase Owens to go over in his match over Yoshihashi.
We already got Narita. We got Narita to eat pins.
In that block, is that the case?
Yeah.
In that block? Okay, all right. So there's hope. There's hope then. We got
Narita. We got Great Okan had a great G1 last year. He could eat some pins this year. We got Great Okan in this one. That's why the B block is lesser than the A block to me, because you got Narita, you got Great Okan in there, you got Shota Umino, who's hit or miss. Like, yeah. I
would have rather Callum Newman in the G1 over Okan. That's all I got to say. So there's that. But yeah, wow. I didn't. None of my wishes came true at the end of the day. So there's that. No Josh Alexander, no Brody King.
Nope.
All right. Well.
It's only one AEW guy, and he has a New Japan contract.
And he also has a DDT contract. So there's that of it all.
Contract to catch
so,
that.
You know, shouts to Big Soups.
Yeah, we talked about that on our preview as well, King of the North. We was like, yeah, are they going to have CMLL representative? But none of that. No.
Yeah, right now, for all intents and purposes, I've been catching up on my CMLL.
I just got my subscription.
I did my fanboy thing, and I paid the highest tier. And I've been watching.
I got kids. I couldn't go that.
I feel you, man. I feel you. But I ain't got. I'm like Shingo out here. I ain't got no kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I got the highest tier, and I've been watching Lucha Libre for the last 4 days in a row. And dare I say, I've been highly entertained at times. I've been it reminds me of when I was a kid, man. Like the commentary shit always took me out of it. Regardless, good talents, entertaining shows. We don't have CMLL representation here. From a heavyweight perspective, just speaking of CMLL by itself, a lot of their heavyweights are actually older wrestlers. So I can understand the why here. I think somebody mentioned it in the chat earlier. Templario is considered a junior, so he's not in the heavyweight division per se, and neither is a Místico and things of that nature. So I don't think CMLL will ever give anybody the rights to have Místico away from Mexico for a long period of time. So there's that part of it. Yeah, man. Like I don't know who would represent CMLL right now as a heavyweight in a G1. Like as a junior, you can name him, right? But like as a heavyweight per se, I'm not too sure in that regard. So it's gonna be a fun week for those of us who are fans of AEW and CMLL and things of that nature. The shows start tomorrow. They air live on YouTube. For those, for people who want the Tuesday night show and you can only afford the $8.99, you got tomorrow live. For those of us on the highest tier, we got tomorrow, we got Friday, we got Sunday to look forward to, and all that shit in between. So it's all going down. Big Man Dogs, yes, but Zondagon Jr. He's getting a push currently right now. That's right. So they're not going to have him off of their TV at the end of the day. So there's that of it. So yeah, all these partnerships and nothing necessarily working out.
Unfortunately not, but the partnership has allowed for some person to have 3 contracts, and he seems to always deliver when he shows up to this contract. Because up next you had Konosuke Takeshita defending the Never Openweight Championship against Boltin, Oleg. Like 2 bulls going at it in the center of the ring. The champion and challenger clash in the middle with Boltin's force dropping Takeshita, who returned the favor and then followed up with a top rope dive. You get Takeshita throwing everything into battering Boltin on the outside. They start going at it on the ramp. You get Takeshita unleashing a loud, resounding forearm to Boltin at the top of the ramp. And then the champion was sent tumbling down after Boltin got the Boltin shake and then threw him as he just rolled down the ramp, barely making it back into the ring before the count of 20. Takeshita withstood a Boltin bomb and then regaining control with a Blue Thunder bomb. He transitions into a Boston Crab after the kickout. Boltin maintained his resilienceness as he pulled Takeshita from the top rope and then dropped him with a massive DVD off the top. He then dropped him to the mat. Takeshita tried choking him out, but the Osaka crowd gave him the will to flip Takeshita onto his back. The pair matched up with lariats going right at each other, battering each other, chest on chest. This was just an absolute war. Despite this was just like one of those all thriller, no filler type of matches. It was just big bombs, big strikes, high impact moves. You get Takeshita rolling out a dragon suplex at one point. Boltin would batter him with lariat upon lariat. You got the two men basically fainting on top of each other at another point. Boltin drowns Takeshita. He hits him with the verdict at one point, and then he follows up. He hits a big old lariat, turning Takeshita inside out, and then finally finishes him off with the kamikaze, a second one of the matchup after Takeshita kicked out of the first one. And 1, 2, 3, Boltin Oleg has finally won a singles title in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and it is, of course, in the never openweight division, the same never openweight division that caused him to get an early call-up without an excursion after winning the six-man titles. He wins the singles title. He becomes the first Kazakhstanian champion in a Japanese promotion, winning the never openweight championship in one of the best matches of his career, like we predicted in the preview. I don't know if it's as good as the G1 matchup or their match earlier this year, but goddamn, this was a great match. A straight up banger in every way possible. They beat the hell out of each other for the 13-minute duration. They wasted no time. There was a sense of urgency throughout as well. I enjoyed the hell out of this matchup. I give it 4.25 stars. J-News, what did you think?
I don't know what Mr. Bond is talking about. He says, I called this in the preview. I called for there to be a grandstanding meat match. That's what I called. I was not necessarily on the boat of Big Soup's losing his belt here.
Hey, I did call it. I know for a fact I did call it. Yes.
You did. I wasn't in the sights of him losing the championship here. Yeah, look, guys, I'm always honest with y'all. Being cynical or sarcastic or not, Boltin Oleg still just doesn't move the needle for me. So am I glad that the kid's got a shot here to prove himself and make it about just doing something different for him and maybe his character work on New Japan shows. Cool. I want to see him improve and things of that nature. I just don't have a feel for him as of yet. I've never been one in any of the wrestling companies that I've ever that I've seen. Just because you're big, just because you're a big dude makes you a draw at the end of the day, or makes you likable. Like that's. Nah, you got to have something to you. That I still haven't gravitated to Boltin in that particular aspect as of yet. Takeshita still doing what Takeshita does. One of the best, if not the best, in-ring performer in professional wrestling going right now. I love anytime I get to see him wrestle against anybody, man. Anybody. Put him in there against anybody, and he's gonna kill it. He doesn't need to have a specific kind of match in order to have a good match. So shouts to Takeshita there, him being in the G1. With him and Tsuji losing their championships in one night, it really puts the light on them to not run the table, but to have very strong G1s and to be contenders for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship by the time Wrestle Kingdom rolls around. So we'll see. I think that they have, if the odds aren't out as of yet, I think that they probably have the best odds to win the G1 right now.
I think it's gonna be Tsuji and Takeshita in the final.
So we'll see. There you go. The King of the North says that my picture will be hanging in the Kazakhstan airports with my hate of Boltin Oleg.
Yes, I agree. Fair assessment.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, and I'm nice about my Boltin Oleg. Hey, I'm worse off with other people. I'm just he doesn't move me is all. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? And he's got great amateur skills from what I can tell. He just doesn't move me, you know. So there's that of it. We'll see. But it was a good match nonetheless. Like I think someone else in this chat said it earlier. It seems like Takeshi just brings the best out of Boltin Oleg. I want to see as to what happens in the future with him as the never openweight champion, and if anyone else can bring out these sorts of matches out of him outside of Takeshita, that'll definitely prove his mettle even more. But for whatever reason, it just in my mind right now, the way my mind's eye is working when it comes to Boltin Oleg, I need to see more. It ain't moving the needle for me right now.
Hey, you didn't enjoy this matchup?
I thought it was fine. There wasn't anything bad about it necessarily, but I'm not gonna. It wasn't. And yet again, this is more having to do with the feel of the show than the actual match, right? So it's one of those things where it's like I probably have to go back and watch it and be like, yeah, man, like this was the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like type of feel, but I didn't get that type of feel from this match at all. You know.
This man's been dead ever since DOUKI joined the House of Torture. And it's not going to get any better with our next matchup, which was the dog collar death match. Evil came out. You need to just. I want you to look up as you're off screen here, J-News. Look up how this shit looks on Cage Match. On Cage Match, it says Evil, and then it lists every member of the House of Torture that was in his corner. It's like he has 9 guys in his goddamn corner. Dick Togo, Ren Narita, Sanada, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Yujiro Takahashi, Sho, DOUKI, Chase Owens, Don Fale. He's got like 10 people. This is ridiculous.
Son, he was a rapper out there, son. He had the whole conglomerate behind him. He was the man with the microphone, and he had everybody behind him from the block to the crew and everything.
It's the Wu-Tang. God damn.
Son, this is what it was. And David freaking Finlay, man. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. Everybody always talking about, yo, the boss dog this, the boss dog that. I'm telling y'all right now, before the end of the show, like we usually do, I'm telling y'all right now, he's my LVP. I'm telling you right now.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
Ridiculousness. Ridiculous. How is House of Torture not the LVP? They dragged down this whole goddamn show. You're not going to do this to me. You're not going to gaslight me, sir. No, don't do that. Don't do that, Skip. Stop.
You cannot, and I will say this 10 toes down. You cannot go out on your back on a stretcher and be the boss dog of the Bullet Club War Dogs.
Yes, you can. When the other dude has 10 of them nibs in his corner. Come on, man. Stop it. Stop the hate,
man.
David Finlay, he comes out with Gato, Drilla Maloney, Taiji Ishimori, and Clark Connors. Each man was wrangled with Okay. My daughter just told me to shut up. Each man is wrangled with the dog collar, with trepidation from Evil in this one. Finlay made the first move, yanking Evil in his way, getting some punches in. He grounded him and then tried to corner him. The War Dog wrapped Evil's side of the chain over the ring post and started choking him with it on the outside. He basically wraps him up in the chain around the post. Meanwhile, you have Sho. He's removing the turnbuckle pad from each side of the ring. Out in the crowd, you get Evil whacking Finlay with a steel chair. Then you get Finlay basically trying to choke Evil with the chain. The War Dog then threw the House of Torture landlord to the outside with a power bomb that laid out his stablemates. You get Evil coming back. He starts hitting him, whipping him with the chain over his back. in an attempt that saw his head then gets thrown into a steel chair. Hoisting his opponent back into the ring, you get Evil swinging the chain onto Finley's beaten flesh. Finley deployed the Oblivion with his knee adorned in the chain, and then a series of power bombs wearing down Evil. He then tried to choke Evil with the chain, but Evil was able to do the same thing with referee Marty Asami. House of Torture attempted to interfere, but the War Dogs came to his side. Evil removed the collar and then threw a table at Finley's head. We get the House of Torture taking out the War Dogs at ringside. They're all laid out. In the ring, you get a table getting set up as they beat down Finley, a 10-on-1 assault. They then lay Finley out on the table. So Don Fale comes off the second rope with a big splash, which rakes the back of Finley with the broken table piece. And then as the referee is woken up by House of Torture, we get Evil, who wraps the chain around Finley's throat and then puts him in the Darkness Scorpion, where he's choking him out at the same time. Finley does not answer the referee's call, and via referee stoppage, Evil wins the dog collar death match. There was some creativity in this one using the dog collar and the chain, but it was immediately marred by the overwhelming nonsense that is House of Torture. The fact that we get 10 of these guys in the ring suffocating not only Finley, but this whole entire event and match. Oh, this was not good. This was not good at all. I'm going to go dud. This is a dud for me. This is a dud matchup because, there was some good parts to it, but it's just completely overshadowed by the overwhelming nonsense that is the House of Torture. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with slow plotting, beatdown, a 10-on-1 assault. It's just overwhelming, and it just brought down this matchup, and it brought down the overall event. Dud. J-News?
I think that the first time I ever saw a dog collar match was on a VHS tape, and it included the Mid-South champion at the time, the Junkyard Dog, classic American wrestling stuff. And it was probably one of the most violent matches I had ever seen in my life, right? I then take myself to a couple of years ago, where I think one of the greatest dog collar matches ever happened in the tag team realm, where it was FTR versus the Briscoes. And that particular match goes down in infamy as one of not the best dog collar matches ever to exist. In one of the most beautiful yet violent things that ever happened. If I'm not mistaken, Cody Rhodes also had a dog collar match with the one and only Brody Lee. And that was a tremendous match between those two guys. That's the match that sticks out to me the most of Cody's AEW tenure, to be quite honest. I've never seen a dog collar match be this bad. Never. Outside of the 10-on-1 assault, I can give you the creativity spots with the chain at times, but it was so slow, and it just didn't. The match didn't do what it was supposed to do.
Nope.
And I was let down by that. And obviously we all know I have a recorded history of having utter hatred for David Finlay. The character, right? The supposed boss dog. I already stated he's my LVP for the show. It was your job, son. It was your job to make sure that this match worked. And it didn't work.
It was 23 minutes. There's nothing you can do to make this work. 23 minutes with 10 of them being House of Torture beating down the babyfaces. The babyfaces that just beat them in a dog pound steel cage matchup.
Not so the chain got used on Evil. No one from the house bled. No one.
Finley only got accidental blood.
That was a blade job too, by the way. So
I thought it was from the black. I thought it was from the back. I didn't even see the blade.
No. They blew it. They blew it with this match. They blew it. I thought this was supposed to be the ultimate blow off between the leader of the House of Torture, between the leader of the War Dogs. This is supposed to be the ultimate blow off. And we didn't even get that. David, look, I've been saying this for months, maybe close to a year, that I feel like David Finlay's on his way out. Him going out on a stretcher, I would have never thought. With all the BS shenanigans shit that he's been pulling off as the leader of the War Dogs, him going out on his back on a stretcher was something I never would have thought to see on a New Japan show. And to see that, right? And he was halfway smirking on that goddamn gurney with his eyes closed. Screw you, David Finlay. Screw you. I'm done, man. I'm done. Because
he's obviously not going out. He's in the G1.
No, I get that. But I'm talking about this match in particular, right? It's just why? For we could have saved this for another time. Like nothing worked here.
You're struggling to convince anyone that this is David Finlay's fault.
No.
This is definitely on Evil. This is definitely the quality that Evil will give us, and he did it again. This was definitely an Evil matchup. Pacing, how it was structured, the finish. This is Evil's MO.
They were building to all of this grandeur around HOT throughout this show, right? Adding all the members to HOT, should I say?
Thank you, Sage. Thank you, because I thought I was the only one. Because you got Genesis J, who's J-News' biggest fan. But thank you, somebody in the chat that's really saying it. Like we blaming the dog when the farmer is at fault. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
You want me to go out of my way for blaming Gato? Is that what you want to do?
This is all Gato's fault.
I'm just talking about the match. The entire show is Gato's fault.
And I told you who laid this all out. Who was this style of matchup? This was not a David Finlay style of match. David Finlay's had a great 2025 other than this goddamn matchup.
This didn't work, man. It didn't work from all fronts. And it like for me, just from a technical standpoint, it undid the War Dogs win in this dog pound steel cage match. It undid all the work.
That I can agree with you.
It undid all the work. That's why I'm more pissed off than anything else. And it's like all the yapping he did during the promos and all. You brought nothing. You brought nothing. All right, cool.
Yeah, I agree with the chat. This is one of the worst matches of the year. This was one of the worst matches of the year. This is definitely the worst New Japan match of the year. When you think about hype, expectation, and then how it came out, this is the worst New Japan match of the year.
Yep.
And not the first time that Evil's had a worst match of the year candidate.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But we expect that from him. This is why I'm leaning on David Finlay. You can't make something out of when you're getting nothing. When you're getting nothing, you can't make something out of it. But you have Genesis J who's going to be in agreement with you. Thank you so much for the super chat donation. He says LVP is HOT and Nepo.
J-News right. There you go.
Yeah, this is. I don't even know what to call this anymore, man. I don't know what to call this.
Here we are. And then we had the final two matches, and I tweeted out before these final two matches I was like, they literally have to have near perfect matches to save this goddamn show after that matchup. And unfortunately, this first one did not do that. As we had Yota Tsuji defending the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship against Gabe Kidd. Early on, you get Tsuji sword out of the ring to topple Kidd after a brawl. You get Kidd with a tope suicida, tope con hilo to the outside onto Tsuji, trying to get the crowd behind him. Just the vibes of this matchup was down from the beginning because of the match they just saw. And I felt bad for them because a lot of people wanted to put more of the blame on the fact that, the Gabe Kidd involvement with Jon Moxley and the Death Riders wasn't really explained. And that's kind of tempered the reaction to Gabe Kidd. And yes, that is a fact. That is what's going on here. But definitely the crowd not being hyped for this matchup, 100% I'm putting on the match that preceded it. But they went real hard from the beginning. They started doing some dives to the outside. You get Tsuji pulling out the Fosbury flop that he hit at the Dominion in 2023 for his re-debut. The pair started exchanging hands, almost getting into a double countout. Kidd and Tsuji engage in a stiff series of strikes, the latter surprising with a shot to the liver. The War Dog earned a breather after sending Tsuji out and then greeting him with a lariat upon re-entry. A comeback swung to Tsuji's favor as he hits a super kick that puts Kidd to the ground. Kidd dangles Tsuji on the top rope, and then he goes for a senton, but he completely overshoots Tsuji and then lands frighteningly on it just felt like he hit the back of his head on the mat, but they sold it like both of them knocked heads. I don't know if they knocked heads or not, but it looked scary at that point. Tsuji staggered Kidd with a tope suicida and then fired off a tombstone on the outside, invoking one of his Death Rider teammates, Claudio Castagnoli. You get Kidd who busts out the giant swing and then sinks in a young lioness Boston Crab until Tsuji has to fight for the ropes. The champion traded chops with the challenger as they were just lighting each other up with some heavy wincing. The match really picked up in like the latter half, the final 5 minutes. You kind of got to see Kidd with his pre-New Japan Cup mode, and Tsuji I thought was good throughout this matchup. Kidd was able to withstand 2 different gene blasters. He gets one and he's able to kick out. You get Tsuji who kicks out of the drill a hole power driver at another point before he goes for another gene blaster, but Kidd catches him and hits the Death Rider, Jon Moxley's finisher, a shout out to the AEW World Champion. He then picks him up and he drops him with a second drill a hole power driver. 1, 2, 3. Gabe Kidd is your new IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion. I thought this was a very good matchup. I give it 3 3/4 stars, but unfortunately, that is well below my expectation for this matchup, considering their first match in February at New Beginning in Osaka is one of the best matches of the year, and I gave that 5 stars. This was way below that at 3 3/4. Post-match, you get Kidd gave Tsuji his props before talking about his journey and being, in the pandemic, having mental health issues, but going through the dojo system, going to the top, fighting to the top of New Japan. He then directed his attention to the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, even opening the ropes out of respect for him when he comes to the ring. He then challenged the ace to face him for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion, which Tanahashi accepts. That match is on for the New Japan Soul Tour and will headline one of those shows. And Gabe Kidd has completed his journey to the top of New Japan Pro Wrestling, holding the second biggest title in the promotion, IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. He cut an even more emotional interview in the post-match comments, So good on Gabe making it to the top. He was crowned here, but yeah, it's a mixture of certain things why the crowd wasn't into this. Like I said before, I think mostly because they had to follow one of the worst matches of the year, and the vibes was off to begin with because of everything that's going on with Kib's booking in AEW and associating with the Death Riders and not really being able to talk about it in any way and direct it in a way that kind of helped this story here. I think if he would have just fed into it and be the heel in this matchup, I think that would have been the better than the approach of not answering the questions that he was given. But it is what it is. I thought the final 5 minutes of this matchup was great. So overall, a very good matchup. But like I said, just below, nowhere near the level of the New Beginning matchup. What did you think, J-News?
I'm going to give this match a pass because of the work that they had to do after everything that had already transpired during the night, during the minute. Much like Big Man Dawes is saying, this match to me also it was a mixed bag. To your point, SP3, the expectations were high for this match. And for whatever reason, speaking for myself here, I also felt like the match was short. It felt short. So there was that part of it, and then secondarily, it didn't deliver on the emotional beats during the match. Within the match, didn't deliver on the emotional beats that I thought it would have. And then it just Gabe overshooting the springboard thing. That was a little bit that took me out of it for a couple of minutes there, and I was like, "What, dude? What the fuck?" Like he missed, and then the way he missed, I was like, "Is he all right? What's going on?" And there was that about it. The Tanahashi thing, post match. I saw that happening this year, 2025, just due to how Tanahashi was emoting and how much how highly he thinks of Gabe, even though he's a madman and all that. I thought they would have had that match with Gabe later on in the year and not now. So obviously they're saving something for Tana towards the tail end of the year. At the end of the day, on his way out, interesting that they would do it now. Obviously, I don't see Tana winning that match per se, but it works fine because obviously Tana just won his match against Uemura, so it is what it is in that respect. I thought the backstage comments by Gabe after this match were good. They were emotional. He was emotional there. Completely self-aware human being. Like I gave him props for that at the beginning of the freaking show. Props to Gabe for that. Tsuji losing, obviously, like we said, it puts Tsuji in the light where he's probably an odds-on favorite to win the G1 in this estimation here. I don't know how you creating that swell for Tsuji to win the G1 is going to be interesting. How they come about making that story happen in the G1. So I have a level of interest in that. Obviously, I'm thinking Gabe's going to lose some matches in the G1, so that'll give him some quote unquote natural competition and challengers going forward for his global heavyweight championship.
He's definitely going to lose to Narita.
All right, man.
I'm just saying. I know how this. I read tea leaves on New Japan very, very well.
Oh man, I feel like New Japan has an agenda, and that agenda is more. It's coinciding more with John Cena's retirement tour than anything that's happening on AEW TV right now, and they don't have a partnership. All right, so there is that of it. I can't even bring myself to even talk about Ren Narita, man. I just whatever. But but good on Gabe. He won his match here. It was, like I said, it was a decent match. It didn't live up to expectations, especially after what they did in New Beginning. So they'll revisit this obviously down the line, as long as Gabe stays loyal to the Dragon mark, to the Lion mark. I'm sorry. And they'll have years of more matches to go. But this definitely didn't land as well as I thought it could have.
Understandable with that. And then finally, we had our main event, Hirooki Goto defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Shingo Takagi. You get these two warriors clashing in the middle after a feeling out process with some loud chops and collisions, flesh on flesh. Goto shoulder tackled Takagi so hard that he had to get a moment to recover his bearings. Takagi fired back with a tornado DDT and a big lariat. He was grounding Goto for a bit here. Takagi unrelenting suplexes Goto at the ramp and then dropped him with a standing senton. The adrenaline coursed through Goto's veins as he made his comeback. He caught up with Takagi enough to topple him with a big lariat. He devastated Takagi, sending him to the outside where he broke the 20 count at 18. He kept evading the GTR and would get Goto in the corner with some hard-looking strikes, hard-looking chops. You get Goto comes back and he hits him with a big lariat. Takagi mounts a comeback with a lariat of his own and got some hits in, but he was left reeling after Ushigoroshi. You get Shingo coming back with his own version of GTR, the Great Takagi Revolution. Goto comes back. He hits GTW, and he kept trying to go for GTR. He finally hits it, but Takagi's able to kick out at 2.99. Takagi comes back. He hits a pumping bomber. He hits Made in Japan and gets a 2 count with that. He was inches away from victory after he hits the Burning Dragon, but Goto's able to kick out at 2.99. Shingo tries to go for the Pumping Bomber again, but Goto's able to block it. The pair battled a seesaw of finisher attempts. You get Goto dropping Takagi with the Shoten Kai, but that only gets a 2. With his soul on fire, you get Goto hitting a big old lariat that turns Shingo inside out, but Shingo's able to get a sliding pumping bomber to the back. He tries to go for a GTR of his own, but Goto's able to reverse that, and he gets him with the GTR, but not able to put him away. He picks up Takagi as we're getting close to the 30-minute call. He has him in the front GTR position, but he grabs a hold of the wrist, and he hits this ridiculous looking arm trapped twisting GTR. 1, 2, 3. Hirooki Goto retains the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship in a phenomenal matchup. They somehow, some way were able to get this Osaka crowd on the edge of their seat. They were so loud that you couldn't hear Chris Charlton on commentary. Like, Chris Charlton was the only one on commentary because Walker Stewart was kind of out of it. I don't know what happened. I think he explained it on social media, but I haven't seen it yet, but you couldn't even hear the commentary by the end of it because the crowd was on fire for like the last 10 minutes. They became unglued, especially after the near falls on the Burning Dragon and the GTR. This was pro wrestling at its finest. It had everything you want from a great New Japan Pro Wrestling main event. It had hard-hitting action. You had the drama. You had emotion. You had a molting hot crowd, and they really saved this show from the absolute dumpster fire that it was looking like. Like, Goto and Shingo went out here and stole the show in an epic matchup. Goto, of course, with the final words for the crowd, but man, They saved this from like worst show of the year candidate. It's definitely the worst New Japan show of the year, but this would have been one of the worst shows of all of wrestling if not for Goto and Shingo pulling out an incredible matchup here. I give it 4 3/4 stars. What did you think, J-News?
This was definitely the match of the night. For one, secondarily, it's official. I said that I would say this out loud.
Say it for the people.
And
you finally jumped on board. You finally jumped on board. Say it.
And it happened. I have been all for the Goto Revolution, but I have never necessarily ever said directly that Hirooki Goto is the greatest IWGP World Heavyweight Champion of all time. Now that he has beaten the one and only Rampage Dragon in a classic one-on-one matchup, it is now cemented that Hirooki Goto, the last of a dying breed, if we are to be completely honest, is the best IWGP World Heavyweight Champion of all time. I expected greatness. I got greatness. Thank you for not letting me down, Shingo Takagi and Hirooki Goto. The crowd was divided throughout this match. There were so many Goto chants, so many Takagi chants. And I was like, where are we going with this? Where are we going with this? This was the only match that was able to put me into the vacuum that was the feeling of great professional wrestling. This was the only match, right? And he as in Hirooki Goto has. I said this a couple of streams ago, man. This is what Sonata's run should have been, and Goto is there. So this is Goto's run. This is epic. This is gonna solidify him in the pantheon of New Japan greats at the end of the day. And I'm happy for him, man. And it's well deserved. Takagi will have other opportunities down the line, I'm sure. At the end of the day, it is Shingo, nonetheless. Terrific match. Yeah, man. When the match ended, and Goto got his hand raised, and they put the belt on him, and the streamers went off, and everything else in between. I'm like, okay, off to the G1 we go. I wonder what they're going to do during the G1. Who's going to be his next competitor? And before I could even switch my brain off, New Japan went ahead and they said, yeah, we're going to give Goto Zach again. Because the last match,
the unfinished business.
All right, the last match didn't end the way it was supposed to have unfinished business. Fine. The Goto Revolution must continue. It's all I have to say. Yes. The Goto Revolution must continue. This is not a shot at Zack Sabre Jr. I love Zack. The front man is who he is. But the Goto Revolution must continue. If we're going to combat the House of Torture and we need a white meat babyface in Japan, it is Hirooki Goto. The Goto Revolution must continue at all costs. Does that mean that Goto wins the G1? No, that does not mean that. But it does mean that Goto must be booked in a strong fashion, and he must get comeuppance when he is able to, and things of that nature. So, shouts to Goto, shouts to Shingo. Shingo's still a man without a country. He ain't got no kids. He ain't got no woman. So he's too funny with that shit. I think it was Charlton. I think it was Chris Charlton or Walker Stewart. He was going through the I'm bullshit. Goto on the mic when Takagi was walking back through the curtain said that I'm sure Takagi's a good man. I'm sure he'll find himself a good woman.
Wife. Yeah, he'll find himself a good wife someday.
I was like, yo, these guys are funny. Oh man, tremendous match, best match of the night. Goto's title reign, man. I can't even speak. I can't even speak any more highly of it than I already have. Short title reign, but all these defenses, man, and he's gonna make even more defenses. It's like who?
It's a shame we're not going to be able to see the Zach rematch live because it's on the Tanahashi Jam event. Right. That's only on TV Asani. It's not going to be live on New Japan World. Maybe it'll get posted to New Japan World afterwards, but yeah, for now it's only going to be on TV Asani.
Yeah, so that you know, at the end of the day, that just being on TV obviously leads you to know as to what the ending of that match is going to be. So it is what it is there. But yeah, man, Goto Revolution will continue. He should go into, like I've said this before, he should go into Wrestle Kingdom as champion. And whoever gets the Goto rub, he's got to be a deserving person, right? We've talked about Suge, we've talked about Takeshita, but yeah, man, none of this HOT bullshit. Gato, no. I'm talking to you, man. I'm talking to you. None of this HOT bullshit. I'm not here for that right now. None of that. This whole ruining of professional wrestling gimmick that people got going on, the John Moxleys of the world, the John Cenas of the world. Now it's Gato and shit. You know what I'm saying? And HOT. Fuck the trend, yo. Get out of here with that.
I hope it's over. Yeah. But let us know in the chat your overall thoughts on NJPW Dominion 2025. Let us know your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP, whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give the show? For me, NJ News for NJPW Dominion 2025 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs in the middle from both of us. Out of 10, what did you give the show, J-News?
Because it is mid, it is going to get
a 5. It's very mid.
Because it is mid, it is going to get a 5 at the end of the day.
That's a thumbs down. You gotta grade it like you're in school. Is a 50 out of 100 okay, that was mid? No, that's a thumbs down. I'm giving it a thumbs down because I gave it a 6 out of 10.
So 6 out of 10, 60 over. It's still a failing grade at the end of the day. So.
It's still failing, but that's more middle. I think middle is 6.5 and 6. Anything above 7 is up, but anything below 6 is down.
All right, that's fine. So yeah, I'll for number correction, 6 out of 10. Yeah. I'm not against being corrected and changing the lines there just to make sure that the grading scale is even across the board. So a 6 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, like I thought that this had the potential on paper to be like a 9 out of 10 show. So to get 6 out of 10, I understand if you're below even that, because the way this show made you feel, I think it is below that. Vibes and feel, it is below 6 out of 10. But I think if you look at it from an overall perspective, with the matches that were good, the matches that were great on this show, combined with if you take out all the other stuff, but when you include that, it's just a mid show. So disappointing. My MVP for the show, I'm gonna have to give it to Hirooki Goto and Shingo Takagi. J-News?
I agree.
Match of the night, also Hirooki Goto versus Shingo Takagi.
Absolutely.
And LVP for the show, go ahead, J-News.
I already said it, man. Whoever is in the Boss Dog's corner can go and take this L with the Boss Dog. Because God damn it, man. God damn it. David Finlay, you are the LVP, along with the House of Torture, obviously. But God damn it, man. God damn
it. It's the correct LVP. It is the House of Torture. It's the House of Torture and Gato. Gato is the one that I blame for all of this. all of this. House of Torture sucks, but we all knew that already. Gato is the one that booked them to overwhelmingly drag this goddamn show into the doldrums. Disgusting. Ugh. Ugh. And yeah, the worst match on the show is definitely the dog collar death match. God damn, that was awful.
That wasn't even a death match, man.
Yeah, it wasn't a death match.
It was barely a dog collar match. I've never seen. I don't recall ever seeing the chain get detached from the dog collar. I don't recall that. I don't recall.
It was that bad. That bad. We've made it to the end of this review. I don't think I've ever been this depressed talking about a New Japan show like this. J-News, let everybody know where they can follow you on social media when they shall see you again.
Oh man. I think SP3 and I will be talking about at least the G1 contender matches and the title matches that will be happening during the Soul Tour. So probably join us by the end of this week, at the beginning of next week, for us to do that. And obviously we'll be previewing the G1 within the next week or so, because the G1 doesn't actually start to the middle of July. So we've got some time for that, but we'll definitely be going over the pertinent and important parts of the Soul Tour. So stay tuned for that here on True Heel Heat. Me and Dolores should be back on our podcast, the Hit the Ropes podcast, this coming Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on our respective YouTube channels. So be on the lookout for that. You can check me out on the Twitter machine at JohnLYFNMG, on Instagram _JONJY. And that is my bit for the day.
You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3 and check out all the great stuff we got here and over on patreon.com/TrueHillHeat. Here you got our flagship podcast, True Heel Heat 333 from this past Saturday with myself, J-News, and the True Draw Josh. Check that out right now. That's on the homepage. And over at patreon.com/True Heel Heat, this week, we got our second episode of our rewatch series for the Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega series from NJPW Dominion 2017. And whoa, how astonishing it was to see a crowd double in size from 8 years ago watching the classic bout between Okada and Omega. So go over there and watch that. And you can also watch along with us, because we give you the time cues and everything on how to watch with us as we rewatch it. So check that out over at Patreon, and check out the first episode with Wrestle Kingdom 11 as well. But I will be back tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time, with Rated Raw Review with Romeo. They're reviewing tonight's Monday Night Raw, so join us for that. For J-News, it is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been our NJPW Dominion 2025 review. We are signing off until next time.